The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey there, welcome to the Bronx Buzz. This is BronxNet's program where we talk to reporters and journalists and writers and editors. And on our second segments, talk to artists and performers and musicians, anybody who puts stuff out in the Bronx and that has meaning for us. We try to invite them on the program. And this evening we have two great guests. In our second segment, we're going to talk about one of the most wonderful art galleries in the Bronx. But in our first segment, we're going to get serious because he's a serious reporter, senior reporter for Gotham Gazette, Samar Khurshid. And nice to have you with us once again, Samar. Nice to see you. And I will say, now that we're virtual, I looked it up. You were one of the reporters who used to come and visit us over there in the East Bronx, and we don't do that anymore. But thank you very much for being loyal to the program. We appreciate it. We were talking about this before the show. You wrote a story, and I really appreciated that as a journalist, you told what you think the story is. And I'll read the headline. Republican gubernatorial primary debates rife with misinformation about the 2020 election, January 6th insurrection, COVID, and more. And I appreciated it because a lot of journalists will just say this was it and not put the not truth telling at the top. Right. Talk to me about when you saw the debate and when you were preparing to write about it, what your impressions were of who these candidates are and what their platforms are about.
Well, crucially, for three of the candidates, that's Lee Zeldin, Andrew Giuliani, and Rob Astorino, there's been sort of a race to the bottom to show that they're the most friendly to Trump. So they've tried to defend and sort of link themselves with former President Donald Trump and defended his actions and, his record in office, including what he did on January 6th and including going so far as Andrew Giuliani, who said that President Trump was reelected in the November 2020 election, which flies in the face of reality, to say.
I want to just interject about the nature of journalism and what I respect in journalism. Because many journalists won't go there and won't just say, look, they are lying, because they'll understand they have followers and they don't want to offend those followers. It's not about offending followers or supporting followers. It's about reading a situation and telling the truth. I got to tell you, I read, and I don't know if I didn't see the debate, and I don't know if it came up in the debate, but Andrew Giuliani was quoted as saying that he has natural immunity to COVID. That, where did he come up with that? We have 1 million horrible stories in America that would, contradict that. I mean, there's no natural immunity to it. And if he has it, why doesn't he share it with the rest of us so we don't have a problem?
And it's if you talk to public health experts, they will tell you that it's irresponsible to raise questions about the vaccine when the pandemic is very much still going on. We should be encouraging people to take the vaccine because it reduces the risk of severe illness and death significantly. And that's the only reason, that the state has been able to open back up, because the rates are slowly, now there was a recent spike, and, New York is still in trouble. And for the candidates to suggest, for instance, that they wouldn't recommend that parents give their 5-year-olds and below the vaccine, as the CDC has recommended, it flies in the face of the general scientific and consensus.
And I want to be clear again, because Samar is a wonderful journalist. You weren't saying that because they supported Trump that they were wrong. You were saying that the big lie that Joe Biden was duly elected president of the United States, and anybody, including the former president, who says no or agrees with him, certainly in a position of responsibility, you got to call them out if you're doing your job, and I really appreciate it. The other thing, which you are one of the only real journalists who did this. I have looked at the numbers about bail reform and
Mhm.
whether or not and how much bail reform has impacted this horrible crime spike. The numbers don't. Now there are issues with bail
Right.
reform, and the legislature did some things to correct it. But you, I think, correctly said the numbers aren't there to show that this has been at the core of our crime problems.
Right. It's been a very good rhetorical cudgel for the Republicans to use against the Democrats.
Yeah.
But it also conveniently ignores the reality that crime spiked nationally. There's major crime, violent crime is up in a lot of states which didn't pass bail reform, and we are living through a time of extreme disruption because of this pandemic, and it's clear it shows up in the crime rates. So bail reform had nothing to do with it. Now the problem is even Democrats are guilty of making the same connection
Yes,
between
that's true. And if you look at we did a couple of debates here, but if you look at some candidates who are running, they are running on a platform of saying, the established people did not do the right thing with bail reform.
Right. Yeah. And Tom Suozzi's running on that,
You
and
took the words out of my mouth.
Kathy Hochul, even to a degree, wants to strengthen the bail law by adding the dangerousness standard. That and all Republicans agree with that. Mayor Eric Adams has
Yes.
been very vociferous about that. So that's one.
Well, she catered to it. I have to tell you, my own analysis showed that I thought the judges should have more discretion. However, having said that, the problem is then you give judges a chance to have racial justice, so to speak, or racial injustice, because you could have one judge who has some personal issues, and then they make the wrong judgment.
Right.
So that's a sticky slope. But the one issue that gets avoided, and frankly, it's been avoided on the national stage to a large degree, is the presence of guns and the presence of guns in our cities. Republicans who are complaining about crime and the nature of crime and all that kind of stuff and what's causing it, conveniently ignore the proliferation of guns in our streets. Let's
Right.
be honest.
Which is another issue, and to suggest that this recent Supreme Court ruling, which struck down the state's concealed carry law, that the restriction on concealed carry, to suggest that that's going to make New Yorkers safer somehow.
Oh goodness, please. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. Let's not have that conversation. And if it makes me look partisan, so be it. Listen, let's talk about the mayor's housing plan. We'll switch gears a little bit. And you wrote, let's see, it's a housing our neighbors, a blueprint for housing and homelessness. In your evaluation, how did the mayor do?
Well, I mean, I'll go by the
I
mayor's
know where you're going, so I set you up there. Go ahead.
own words. He's left a lot of people very disappointed because he promised he'd be spending $4 billion a year in capital funds on housing, which would be split up between the New York City Housing Authority and HPD, Housing Preservation and Development, which builds affordable housing. He, instead of spending $4 billion a year, he added $5 billion over 10 years. So he's left a lot of housing advocates and the city council disappointed. Now, bear in mind, he is attempting a sort of a pivot by combining NYCHA, public housing, affordable housing, homelessness, all these issues into one plan that gets at all parts of it, cutting red tape, making it easier to apply for supportive housing, reducing bureaucratic hurdles that prevent people from actually accessing housing, especially transitioning from homelessness to housing, while at the same time investing in building new housing, using new zoning amendments to.
And so let me just ask you about evaluating that.
Mhm.
You know what it strikes me as, especially somebody who's a former cop, when Giuliani merged all the police forces rather than splitting up the MTA force, the housing police and parks police and everything else, we had one force. that's what this strikes me as. Do you think it's a good way of going about it, of streamlining city government, or because homeless problems are different than other housing problems,
I think
maybe we're better off attacking each one differently?
I think the way the mayor is looking at it is probably a good
A good
approach.
idea. Okay.
These housing, homelessness and housing, it's a spectrum. It's not, those aren't separate issues, especially in this city,
Okay.
where literally the cost of living and rents being higher is what causes, housing insecurity.
Right.
These are all linked issues, so definitely tackling them together is how it should be done. Now, the problem is we don't have a metric to measure it by because the mayor's himself set himself to no
No,
goal.
no standard. Listen, he didn't put any deadlines. The biggest thing is he didn't. I mean, the monies that he put to it are guesswork to some degree,
Right.
and but I do appreciate that if we want to solve a homeless problem, solve the affordable housing problem. Of course, that then becomes connected to wages and that whole other
Right.
thing. So I got to ask you this: what are you working on? What's coming out next? Because I
Oh,
know it's hard to get you because you're always busy. What are you working on?
I know this is gonna air on Thursday, but
Yeah, go ahead.
between now and then, I'm working on primary coverage. I gotta,
Ah,
yeah,
mm.
the
Do you anticipate any surprises? I mean, of course, we're interested in the assembly races, and by Thursday we'll know the answer. But it's interesting to hear a
I
prediction
mean,
ahead of time.
so I'm sort of laser focused on the governor's races right now. I think Kathy Hochul looks like, and
She
if
looks
I'm
good.
wrong, we'll know. This is gonna air on Thursday. Kathy Hochul looks like she's sort of sailing to a easy election. I think the surprise would be in the lieutenant governor's race.
Oh,
Uh,
do you think Jumaane Williams is going to step up
well,
potentially?
he's running for governor, so but his
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
running mate, that it's possible because Antonio Delgado has not been there very long.
That nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, and Anna Maria has sort of really created a lot of energy around her campaign.
Right.
So it's possible that we could get
All right.
a governor's ticket that's Hochul with not her choice of running mate.
Well, politics makes strange bedfellows. We're going to go there. I don't know.
But if
What's that?
that's better
We
for the state if you have
Right.
someone willing to disagree with you.
Summer, you're totally right. Listen, you're the best. We'll have you back. We'll talk about that. Samar Khurshid, senior reporter for Gotham Gazette. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back, and we're going to go to City Island and the Focal Point Gallery. Don't go away. Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am thrilled because one of my buddies is here, and one of the best places in the Bronx is who he represents. Good evening to Ron Turner of the Focal Point Gallery on City Island. Nice to see you again.
Very good to see you.
Listen, there's always great things going on there, and I am going to just tell people, go have dinner, have a nice lunch on City Island. But as part of your experience, make sure you go about halfway down the island. They call it downtown City Island, whatever that means. Go downtown City Island and stop and hang out with Ron and see all the great Bronx artwork. Ron, but you have something really special going on this month of July. What is it?
Yes, it's going to be artwork by autistic young adults. It will be all their work that will be in the show. I'm really excited by that. The talent is amazing. And this all came about by my friend and neighbor, um, Harris Huberman, whose daughter is on the spectrum. She has autism.
And by the way, we're just going to show some of this incredible work. It's just beautiful. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I
And
can't help it. It's just gorgeous.
she, as a matter of fact, her name is Elisa. I even taught Elisa Photoshop back in the day.
Wow.
Um, and she's very talented. Some of her work will be included. And Harris asked me if I'd be interested in getting in touch with a person by the name of Sulika Price, who sponsors autistic artists, and she calls it the Autistic Museum. And she does have a website, which is the Autism Museum.com. So
And so the whole notion of a museum is like a floating gallery that goes to places, et cetera, et cetera. And your place is one of the places that it's going to
right.
be.
I think I'm the second place where she is doing this.
Hmm.
If you go to the website, you'll find out more about it. So, uh, yeah, I am the second space where the work is going to take place, and she
And look at
collects.
this, some of this work, by the way. Look at that.
Yeah,
Bob
she
Marley,
she
my goodness.
collects work from all over the country, and that work is by a City Islander. That's Jessica, and she's another autistic artist that
Hmm.
I've shown in the gallery over the years. She does amazing stuff. She uses a tablet. So some of the artists, it happens.
Dude, it don't matter to me. Creativity is creativity.
Yeah, no,
Whatever
it's
you
the new
use,
tool. It is
I
the
could
most
use anything and I wouldn't get anywhere near that. Ron, I just want to ask you about you and Focal Point Gallery. This, to me, is as good an example of what you believe in and what you want to do and what you think art can do for people and for a community, right? I mean, this to
absolutely.
me, I mean, you have kids and you go to schools and you do all that stuff and you show off their work, but this goes one extra step. Right? This is what you want to do at Focal Point.
Well, most definitely. It's great to show that everyone can be an artist, even if you have a learning disability, any kind of handicap that you may have, does not mean that you can't be creative. And it turns out that a lot of people who do have autism um, show great skill in a lot of different areas:
Look at that.
music,
Hmm.
the visual arts. There's a lot that they can do. And it's an amazing thing that because autism, sometimes it's hard for the autistic person to express themselves. And then you have art, which gives them a vehicle and a means of their being able to express how they're feeling, which is very important.
Is vital. And you listen, we're going to get to the nature of art, especially for young people, but really for any person. It doesn't matter whether they're on the spectrum or not. This is what Focal Point has always been about. I mean, how many times did I come and see the grade school artwork that the teachers do it, and frankly, what you just said about for autistic uh, uh, children and adults is the same thing for everybody. It's so important, especially now when we've been cooped up and we've been through so much, to express ourselves in this way. I mean, that's the nature of what you do and what you've been doing for how many years?
Oh, it's going to be, it is 48 years.
40 years. Wow.
48 years since I've had Focal Point Gallery on City Island.
Hmm.
And I like to give everybody an opportunity to show their work. I make it very, very easy, as you know.
Of course.
Don't turn anybody away. I always felt that if you had the courage to put your work up on the walls for people to see it, then it deserves to be seen. So I get all kinds of people in artwork exhibited at Focal Point Gallery.
Have you seen? Now we just sampled some of the works that are going to be on display. Have you seen all the works yet that are going to be on display?
No, a lot of it is going to be a surprise to me as well.
Okay.
Miss Price did send me some samples. I did,
And those are the ones we've been showing. Yeah.
But a lot of it is going to be new to me. That again, that's done by Jessica. That's by Elisa Huberman, and she calls her artwork that she does put up on Facebook the Elisa Huberman Project, and she is a great storyteller.
Oh, is this her working there? Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the artists that will have their work shown. Elisa is an amazing illustrator of storybooks.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Really?
and then Jessica, who I know, who lives on City Island, does like the superheroes. She's fascinated by the superheroes.
Now, if they do digital art, just out of curiosity, and I know you know how to print, are you printing stuff? Do they bring you finished framed stuff? And only because I know Ron goes the extra mile whenever necessary, but I'm just curious what form a lot of these pieces are going to come to you.
Yeah, some of them are going to be paintings, drawings, so they're going to come already framed. For example, with Jessica, she will come because she does live on City Island. She will come with a file for me to print, and I'll print it for her, and then she will have a frame that will pop it in.
Here's a question I never asked you because I've been there so many times. How much space is there? How much room? Like, because you say you never turn anybody away. I mean, you do 10, 20, 100, 50,000. I mean, I don't know how.
It's a small gallery, as you know. Somehow I manage to salon style hang, and I manage from the top of the ceiling, where
all the way down.
All the way down.
The other thing that you do a lot of times is you'll have like people can flip through and see like cards of the samples and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a kind of a personal question. Now, you of course are an incredible photographer and artist on your own. I think you got bored with your photography, so you started playing with it, and now we get all different impressions and colors and all that kind of stuff. Have the children's artwork, has this autism project and all the other stuff you've done affected your work, changed the way you look at your creativity, opened your mind up a little bit, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, by showing other people's work, it definitely influences me. We are a sum total of everything we see and we experience, and somehow we incorporate it into what we do. I feel that I probably do that as well. It's probably subconsciously, but I do believe that does happen. I think more than anything else, it energizes me seeing the artwork by autistic artists and their creativity. And there's this incredible drive to make art. And
that would inspire anybody. Yes,
that does affect me.
Okay, so let's get some of the dates now. Is there going to be an opening ceremony of some sort? I'm sure there is.
Oh yeah, it's going to be on the 9th, July 9th, which is a Saturday afternoon.
Okay. Right.
From 1 to 4. We'll have refreshments, and I promised some of the young artists that I'll have some chocolate chip cookies. I know
And you
Elisa,
promised Gary that you'd have chocolate chip cookies
I
as well.
know Elisa and Jessica love the chocolate chip cookies. We'll leave the wine for other people. There'll be wine and cheese
Right.
and refreshments for everybody.
And then how long is the gallery open if people can't be there for the opening on the 9th? What time does that start? And let's get the whole spectrum
Well,
of.
The exhibition will stay up for the entire month of July,
Mhm.
and I'm open every day, 7 days a week.
I don't think I've ever been by like after dinner or before lunch or after lunch that I haven't seen you
I'm
there.
always here.
You're always there. So that's July. I hate to say what do you do for an encore? Now, you had mentioned about it. There's a wedding coming up that's going to be in the
Oh
street.
yeah, in September, there's going to be a wedding in Focal Point Gallery, and it's of course everybody can come. It'll be
Really, a public wedding like out in the
well.
street
It's the
to some degree
ceremony will take part in the
in
gallery,
the gallery.
and then the party will be outside of the gallery
Well,
with
that's
music by Papagayo and the Days of Wild. And it's I'll announce that as we get closer.
mhm.
The show after the July show will be the August show, which is what I usually do, which is called Artist Choice, giving
Oh yes,
any
yes.
artist who wants to put in work can. They choose what they want to put in. They curate themselves, and I put
Listen,
together the.
I'm just going to add. Summertime is here. People say, "Oh, let's get dinner or let's have lunch in City Island," which, of course, yes, please do. Please make sure you stop by Focal Point Gallery as one of your regular, like I do, like one of your regular stops on City Island. What's the address? What's the website? Let's do all that business.
Okay. It is the address is, of course, Focal Point Gallery, 321 City Island Avenue. That's in the Bronx. Yep.
Mhm. There you
And,
go. And just stop by. Just stop by and say hello. Bring good vibes, and you'll really enjoy all the artwork that you're completely surrounded by when you
and,
go in there.
and if people
You know,
want to, if they want to follow me,
yes.
I do have a Instagram
Okay,
page.
let's do it quick because we got to get going.
Okay, Focal Point Gallery 321, and Facebook, just my name, Ron Terner, Terner.
Got it. One of the great people in the Bronx, one of the great places in the Bronx. Folks, check out Focal Point Gallery this summer. Thanks, Ron. We'll see you around town.
I thank you. I really appreciate it.
Folks, that's it. What a great show. We did politics and all that stuff, and we did some of the best stuff in the Bronx. So we'll see you next week. Good night.